Today is a bit of a wet day, so we're not going to go quite so far. We've come today to the Montrose Air Station Heritage Centre. Montrose was founded in 1913, barely 10 years after the Wright brothers took to the skies. A very detailed view discusses the history of Spitfires, particularly going through all the marks and the various different models made. And of course, recreation of wartime events like this warden's office. This is the station commander's office. Of note is the Herbert Terry Anglepoise lamp and Bakelite phone. A nice period 1940s style wartime room. The next room discusses the history of Montrose as an air station, being one of the earliest in 1913 and operational to 1953. There's also this lovely scale model of the Montrose Air Base in World War II, complete with its own tiny armoured steam train. You leave the main headquarters section through a recreation of an ATS bedroom. Let's go back out into the rain. The next hangar has an Avro Anson being restored. The workshop is littered with parts, but the fuselage is coming on quite nicely. Current progress is the nearly complete flight deck. There's then two more massive hangars for us to explore. The first hangar deals with the World War I period of Montrose. Of particular interest is this cross put over an English airman by German soldiers when Lieutenant Robinson was buried with full military honours after he was shot down over enemy lines. It also contains two World War I period aircraft, the first being a magnificent replica of a BE-2, one of the first aircraft to be at Montrose when it was a working airbase in 1913. The second is another replica of a very famous Sopwith Camel. This aircraft, introduced late in World War I in 1917, is one that I associated with my childhood storybook character Biggles. Don't miss this section in the corner, which is dedicated to the horses and dogs and even pigeons and other animals that were involved in wartime service in World War I. The story of Vic and his horse and Captain Wallace is particularly poignant and pleasant to read. The second hangar deals with World War II and beyond. It starts with an original Miles Hawk Major trainer aircraft. This was the RAF's first monoplane to be used as a trainer, and was linked with Montrose and many pilots who learnt to fly here. There's also this SE-5A replica again undergoing restoration. So a nice display showing the development of engines from these 4-cylinder Gypsy Moth type engines through to the Gypsy 6 piston engines, before moving on to the Rolls-Royce Derwent jet engine. This Derwent engine was effectively Rolls-Royce's second ever jet engine, immediately after Frank Whittle's prototype. Of course, Rolls-Royce's most famous engine is the Merlin engine, and these two recovered from a crashed bomber show the piston layout and the V12 layout of these very famous, lovely sounding engines. And the most up to date is this jet engine, again from Rolls-Royce. But this Spey engine was also used to power SSC Thrust, the world land speed record car. The last aircraft is this de Havilland Vampire. This was the RAF's first twin jet-engined aircraft. It entered service immediately after World War II and originally was not fitted with an ejector seat. There was a separate display about ejector seats showing that these two seats alone have saved over 500 lives. Pilot training at Montrose has always been an important role, and this Link trainer is an example of how pilots are trained without needing to leave the ground. And at another display you could actually sit in a trainer and have a go at flying yourself. The museum's exhibits are thoughtfully linked by this recreation of a runway which runs between all the different sheds. Although established in World War I, there is still plenty of evidence of World War II fortifications, like this pillbox. Inside the pillbox, you feel very secure, and the thickness of the walls give you a lot of reassurance against the bombs that might rain down outside. And the blast that might come through the doors are protected by this thick concrete blast barrier. Outside there is a replica Spitfire, as well as a Gloucester Meteor. These hangars are actually historically significant and scheduled monuments. They are the original 1913 hangars dating from the very start of the Montrose Air Base. The last one is still in use by Montrose Air Museum. You only have to look upwards in this hangar to realise it's historic, but it contains more modern aircraft, such as this Hawker Hunter and Seacat Jaguar, as well as the only Tornado to be based in retirement in Scotland. And you can see from the fin on the tail, only just fits in the building. We had a lovely day at the museum, learning an awful lot about the early history of Scotland's airfields. It's well worth a visit if you're in the area.